you guys doing? Yeah, you know, guys, I was just not really doing anything. My dog is crying because my dancing is so bad. Hello! 안녕하세요, kimincoree 박키미입니다. Hi, this is Kimi Park, and today we are talking about 소리군. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the Stray Kids song 소리군, and you are all thinking that it means Thunderous, because that's how the song was translated in English. Thunderous by Stray Kids. Correct? Wrong. 소리군 sings Pansori. What am I talking about? Pansori is a traditional Korean performance where one singer sings a long story to the rhythm of a drum. Han is a place where people gather, and sori means sound. And then the singer is called a 소리군. 소리, Pansori, 소리군. We find the same word, 소리, which means a sound, and 군 means a master at its craft. Here, the craft of 소리, the craft of sound. Basically, Stray Kids are referring to themselves as skilled singer, master of the sound. And actually, while in the translation of the lyrics, it's always written that the thunderous ones have arrived. 군들이 왔어요. It's actually written 군 every time. Not even 소리군, it's just written 군. For example, and if you look at what's written in the background, it actually says 소리군들 모이세요. The 소리군, the master of sounds, please gather. So 군 is a master of something, right? And it can be added to other things than 소리군. And Stray Kids use another two words with the ending 군 in their lyrics. 잔소리군. 잔소리 means nagging. 군 master, so the master of nagging. 나무군, which is a woodman, a master of the wood. Now that we know what a 소리군 is, let me tell you more about Pansori, which is the type of performance that they do. 이리 오너라 업고 놀자. So there is three elements that are really important in a Pansori performance. The first one is the 소리군, the singer that is singing and telling the story on stage. The second one is the 고수, the person that is hitting the drum, and the drum itself is called a 복. And the third one is 조임새, the public cheering the performers. If you think of a Western traditional performance, you probably think of opera, where everybody stays really, really quiet the whole time, and you only clap at the end of the performance. But during a Pansori performance, the public is actually expected to partake and shout their emotions and their encouragement to the performance. They can say things like 잘한다, which means good job, 어시구, which means yeah, that's it, 좋다, which means great. And this is really important in a performance. Pansori was actually a low-class type of entertainment to start with. When it emerged in the late 17th century, it was played mostly in the streets. It got only picked up by the upper classes in the late 18th century, then it had really its heydays in the beginning of the 19th century. So this is during the Joseon dynasty, although the Joseon dynasty lasted for 5 centuries, so it's actually a little bit hard to even place it. When you say Joseon dynasty, you're just like, oh, when, I don't know, right? And the fact that it was actually a low-class type of entertainment makes it a little bit inaccurate for Stray Kids to be singing it in a palace. And you can see other elements of Korean traditional folks performances in the Stray Kids video, such as 홍물, which involves dancing and drumming, which you can often still see today. If you go visit the palaces in Seoul or also in front of the Namsan Tower, you can often see these types of performances. And you can also see a 푸종사자노름, which is a performance where the dancers are wearing a lion mask. If you want to have K-pop that represents more something that would have indeed taken place in a palace, you have BTS Sugar's solo work under the name of August D, and his song 대추타. 대 means great, 치 means to blow, and 타 means to hit. And this was the name of the music that accompanied the king on his procession or military procession or very important national events. And in this video, Auguste is representing himself as the king, so it makes a lot more sense in this type of royal palace setting. There are two ways in which the singer is performing. The first one is called 아니리. This is when the performer is a lot more speaking than actually singing, and there is no beat happening. It tends to be during the very narrative part of the story.
광주 도화동 사는 봉사한 사람이 있는데 성은 신이요 이름은 학교였다.
The second part is called barim. This is when the singer is singing with the fan and does movement with the fan to express their emotion or also illustrate wind. Actually, fans are very common in traditional Korean performances because it's not only used during the Pansori performance, there is also a Korean traditional dance called buchechum. Buche means a fan and chum is a dance. This is traditionally performed by a group of women. If you remember BTS's performance at the Melon Music Award in 2018, in the intro of Idol, you had J-Hope dancing with percussionists, you had Jungkook, and you had Jimin dancing with a group of dancers with fans, directly inspired by the buchechum. So now let's talk about Pansori's repertoire. I don't know how to say this because I'm too French to pronounce this in an English way. Repertoire? I don't know. There are 5 main types of story set on stage during a Pansori. Before to even tell you what the story is about, I wanted to go through what the word mean because all of these words come from Hanja. The first story is 춘향가. 춘 means spring. 향 means fragrance. This is something that you find in the word 향수, which means a perfume. And ka means a song or to sing. You find this again in 가수, which is a singer, 가사, which are lyrics, or 가요, which is a song. Ga is going to be at the end of the name of each of these performances because every time it's like the song of something. 춘향가 is a love story, but it's a love story between a low-class woman and a noble man. So they were not allowed to be together. This is them against society. 춘향 is actually the name of the girl, so it's a song of 춘향. The second story is 심중갑. 심 means to sink, 청 means clear. You find it in the word 청소, which means cleaning, for example. And like in the previous one, 심청 is the name of the main girl. And this girl has a father who's blind, and she has to take care of him. And for that, she sacrifices first her body and then her actual life by jumping into the sea. This is not the end of the story. I won't tell you the rest in case you want to find out more. But basically, this is a story of filial piety, being a good son, being a good daughter. The third one is 흥부가. 흥 means to thrive or to flourish, and 부 is a man, which you find, for example, in the word 부부, which is a married couple, or 이모부, 부 being the husband of 이모. 이모 is your maternal aunt. 흥부 is the name of one of the 2 characters in these stories. 흥부 is the good brother, and 놀부 is the bad brother, and it's the story of their brotherhood. The fourth story is called 소국가. 소 means water. You can think of 소영, which means swimming, and 궁 means a royal palace. So you can think of 경복궁, which is the main royal palace in Seoul. And this is about the folk tale of the turtle and the hare. Hare, you pronounce that quite normally? And the bunny. But this is not the one that you might know from the West, where they are both doing a race and the hare is just chilling because he's like, yeah, I'm so fast, like you can never catch me. And then in the end, the turtle is more clever and finished before him because she just keeps going slowly and without stopping. This is a totally different story where the turtle is a servant of the dragon king whose kingdom is in the sea, and this is when the title makes sense, the water palace. The dragon king is sick and he needs to eat a rabbit's liver to feel better. So this is a story about how the turtle is trying to obtain this. The fifth story is called 적벽가. 적 is red. You can say 적색 to say red, and 벽 is a wall or cliff. So this is a 벽. I'm touching the 벽 right now. And this is from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I don't know if you know this. The Romance of the Three Kingdoms is a very famous Chinese novel from the 14th century. So I'm not very familiar with the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but I know that there is something important happening at a red cliff, and now the title makes sense. Unfortunately, Pansori is not as popular as it was in the early 19th century, and since the 20th century, its popularity has been in decline. But nowadays, there are actually efforts to preserve this Korean heritage that was recognized by the UNESCO in 2003. If you're in Korea and you want to see something traditional, I really recommend to go see a Pansori, but you can also sometimes see it elsewhere. I've seen a Pansori here in Berlin. It was organized by the Cultural Center of the Korean Embassy, and that was pretty good. And to be honest, I didn't really understand what it was about because the performance was in Korean, I didn't speak Korean at the time, and it was translated into German, which I was a beginner at the time, but I still very much enjoyed the performance. Anyway, that's it for me today. I hope you find that interesting. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye! Say bye, Percy. Say bye. Bye-bye. Yeah.